Welcome to Unfiltered Summit Sisters. I'm Gina.
And I'm Julia.
We are two ride-or-die best friends who are paving the path for what true, authentic relationships look like.
We're facing hardships head-on, having real, uncensored conversations, supporting each other's growth, and shining a light on true, raw healing.
We are navigating the world the best we know how.
Having a hell of a time doing it.
Laughing every step of the way.
Through the rain
and sunshine.
This is Canyon Culture.
No, I think about what it was like when I was married.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was something that was interesting. Explaining to people, I've had a couple of opportunities to kind of explain a little bit about the abuse that happens when you're with a narcissist to people who have never experienced any sort of abuse like that ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting because I was explaining how this concept that you and I have really dug through the last couple months of this safety that they created, this false safety that they created. So we viewed the world as unsafe and them as safe, when in reality, it's the opposite. So I was explaining that to her. I was just like, I kept staying with him because that's where I felt I was safe. And so now in my head, when I think about whether it was like a cuddle moment or a hug from him, that's what safety was.
Right.
But now that I've got all the layers peeled back, I'm like, oh.
Well, and for me, that goes as far back as childhood.
Right.
That was, you get beat and then you get a hug. That's love.
That's love. I'm going to give you a black eye and then kiss your boo-boo.
Right. But when you know nothing different.
Yeah.
Right? But then it's really mind-fucking coming out of that because.
Yeah, and that was kind of the concept I was talking to this friend about. I was just like, it's such a mess because your view of what safety is really confusing. Your view of what love is really confusing.
Yep.
Having to retrain your body about all of that stuff and trusting yourself and all of these things. I'm like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And so you don't trust people. You don't know how to handle things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no wonder I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
Because, just, it's a lot. And she's like, that makes me want to cry. I was like, right.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'd be like, oh, thank you for having emotions.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'll get out of the car. I know
Derek
we're on the freeway.
He's like, stop apologizing. I'm like, but I do it without even, it just comes out all the time.
Right. Yeah.
The stupidest stuff. I had an email. I don't know why I feel led to share it with you.
Okay.
I almost sent it to you the other day, but I didn't, and then I don't know why I thought of it now. The title of it was, I'm tired of healing. It's some subscription.
Okay.
I'm tired of healing, but I'm choosing to do it. So it says, I've been healing for over 11 years. As I embarked on this journey, I stood at the edge of my life many times, overlooking every choice, failure, joy, and success. Hoping and believing that as the years went by, the weight of this hard soul work would lift and the trips through the mud of mending would lessen. That hope was nothing more than a dreamer's dream. I believed naively that each layer of pain would shed. I believed naively that each layer of pain shed would mean a more easeful step forward. Yet here I am, still knee-deep in a journey far from whimsical, easy, or straightforward. Far, 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 far away from over. If I'm being frank, I didn't sign up for this. I would have immediately opted out if I had known all those years ago that healing would get harder and more intense, that the mud would at some points be thicker than the pain I was initially pushing through. However, even with that being true, this voyage has shaped my identity in multiple ways. Daily, the process of figuring my mess out encourages me to rise, face the accountability mirror, and deliberate with my time, energy, and how I show up for myself. Even on the days I want to quit, I don't. I choose to heal with intention and purpose. It's the throw in the towel days where deep transformation happens, and that is often the hardest part. When I'm in my stillest moments, I've been practicing being radically honest with myself. Telling the truth even when it isn't pretty is a real test, and it's in those instances where I occasionally wonder if I would have really chosen to embark on this path had I known the depths of the valleys. I searched my mind for regrets, cradling the weight of each pro and con. If I had known that healing wasn't just about fixing, but also practicing, acknowledging, and shame-free witnessing, I likely would have closed the door when it showed up. Hindsight is 20/20, so they say. And on top of that, I strongly believe that healing chose me. Some days the weight of living a mindful and intentional life is heavier than I'd like. There's so much more I have to learn and unpack that feels much easier to just ignore, but I don't. I keep my promises to myself and I press forward. The other day I told a friend I'm tired of being the bigger person. I'm over trying to be emotionally mature and available. I'm tired of being the one doing the work, in many cases alone. I don't want to carry this load anymore. Keeping the cycles as they are would be much easier than breaking them. As intense as it may sound, sometimes that is my truth, and it can trump the healing growth and changes that have come from doing the soul work. Yet I choose this path not because it is painless, but because it's critical. All of this isn't just important for me, but for my lineage. I'm sharing this today because often healing is sold as this dream of ease and continuous overcoming and celebration. If this journey has taught me anything, it's that many things can be true at once. I can hate it here in the trenches of healing some days and still know that not healing is not an option. I am choosing this on purpose, even when it's hard and even when I don't want to learn another damn thing about myself. For anyone who needs this today, every lesson learned changes our spirit and inspires the deepest corners of our relationships with ourselves and others. Though fatigue and frustration will sometimes yell in our ears, we must keep in mind that healing is not the antagonist in our story. It is a compass guiding us even when the journey feels endless, slippery, and dark. We are all learning that our healing practice is not a starry-eyed love affair. It's demanding, muddy, and risky a lot more times than not. But in the same breath, our healing is an anchor that can tether us to intention, urging us all to lead deliberately on our paths, becoming a non-judgmental witness to the world and ourselves. That was
Hits a little close to home.
really close to home. I was
Well, I
like,
like that
thank you, somebody
yeah,
is being real about healing.
I
That
have a
was one
thing
of the
too.
most...
But I want to talk about your thing.
That was one of the most like real raw things about healing that I've heard or read in a long time.
Well, I like that at the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know if I agree with what my experience is, what they're talking about. Like, because the one thing I disagree with, and not in the whole concept, but for me, is that even though I agree with how hard the healing, like how they explained how hard the healing was, I still would pick this over what my life was before.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's the only thing. But all of that, like, I love that she pointed out that or I don't know if it's a she. It sounds like a woman.
I actually don't know.
They, them.
I think the name is Alex, which could go either way. So
Good heavens. But what was explained is that the feeling of two different things. You could hate it here, because how many
Yes.
times do I text you and I'm like, I freaking hate it here.
Yeah.
Would I choose to go anywhere else? No.
No.
But I can also hate it here.
Right.
And the hate it here is not like in that moment in my home. It's whatever emotion I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But that was, yeah. I liked how real and raw that was.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a book. It's called The Language of Letting Go, Daily Meditations on Codependency. And today's Getting Through Hard Times. So I'll read this one, unless you had more to
Perfect.
say about that
No.
one. Hard times, stressful times are not all there. Is to life. Whoa. Reading is hard. Hard times, stressful times are not all there is to life, but they are part of life, growth, and moving forward. What we do with hard times or hard energy is our choice. We can use the energy of hard times to work out and work through our issues. We can use it to fine-tune our skills and our spirituality, or we can go through these situations suffering, storing up bitterness, and refusing to grow or change. Hard times can motivate and mold us to bring out our best. We can use these times to move forward and upward to higher levels of living, loving, and growth. The choice is ours. Will we let ourselves feel? Will we take this spiritual approach, including gratitudes toward the event? Will we question life and our higher power by asking what we're supposed to learn and what we're supposed to be learning and doing? Or will we use the incident to prove old negative beliefs? Will we say, nothing good ever happens to me. I'm just a victim. People can't be trusted. Life isn't worth living. We do not always require hard energy or stress to motivate us to grow and change. We do not have to create stress, seek it, or attract it. But if it's there, we can learn to channel it into growth and use it for achieving what's good in life. It's interesting how close those two are.
Yeah. It's good. While you were reading, it reminded me of there's that Bible verse Paul is talking about. Consider it pure joy when you go through trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
for so long, I was like, screw that. Are
Well,
you
why?
kidding? Like,
Right.
where you find, like, but looking back now, I think this is what he was talking about. You're not finding joy in the actual trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of that, the growth that comes through that, the
Mm-hmm.
strength that comes from that, I think that's what he was talking about.
Absolutely.
Because going through situations, going through trials or tribulations, on the other side of that, I am growing, I am healing, I am coming out stronger. And I think that's what he was referring to, not the actual situation.
Well, which, yeah, no, 100%. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've also learned, just probably the last 6 months, I've just gotten to a point where I think I look at some of the really hard things that have been put into my life and I'm going, God trusted me
Mm.
and had faith in me that I could get through this. Granted, with him, but you have to choose that. He's not
Right.
going to force himself on you. But he's like, I know you can get through this, and I know that you are one of my elite daughters, that I can give you such hard things because you are strong enough to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that adds some gratitude for the trial. So I'm sitting there going, this is hard,
Yeah.
but he knows I can get through it.
Yep.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have given it to me. Now we have to do it together.
Yes.
But the fact that he's not looking at my life going, the hardest thing you're going to have to go through is some hangnails in your mid 30s.
Right.
But together we'll get through it.
Yeah.
He's going, you're going to have to deal with some really dark things. And you're going to feel alone and whatever. Pick a thing that you and I have gone through.
Right.
He trusted that both you and I are strong enough to handle that.
Yes.
And that doesn't make the journey easier, but I'm going, if he thinks I can get through it.
Well, I think it's going to go, I forget. Sometimes I'm so in whatever's in front of my face can
Yeah.
feel so big and so dark and so hard at times, right? That I forget this is going to go far beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the things that we're facing, the trials that we walk through, those are not meant for just us to stumble.
Yeah.
We have a whole nother generation, right?
Multiple.
We have a lot of kids between us. And on top of that, they're all going to have grandbabies. And the work that we're doing now is going to affect our babies and our grandbabies and their babies. There's a whole generation of incredibly powerful humans that we are raising that are going to change the world.
All right. Well, that feels a little more intimidating. You know what I mean?
But it also helps me get my head out of my ass sometimes. This is not just about you, Julia.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need that.
But sometimes it just sucks.
God, yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it
so
does.
tired.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's times where I do feel like the trials are rapid fire. And there's times where I feel like it's just like deep, sludgy mud,
Yes.
like they were explaining in that email.
Yeah.
And both are hard. And right now it's the deep, sludgy mud.
Mm.
And I don't know, I text you, I think it was a couple days, it was on my birthday. My birthday, I had a great birthday. It was such a good birthday. I don't think I've ever had a birthday that good. I was loved on from the minute I woke up until I went to bed.
That made my heart so happy.
It was incredible. And I didn't, like I had low expectations. People are like, what are you doing for your birthday? I was like, dinner with the kids and Julia.
Yeah.
That's all I want. That's all I want for my birthday. I love that tradition that we've kind of started, that we do dinner and cake together and we sing insanely inappropriate songs to each other. But like that's all I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an abundance of it. But then things were just so hard with Thomas and I needed to vent about it. And I don't know, I'm always so glad that we have this space where I can come to you and be like, this freaking sucks. And you're not going to go, your birthday was great.
Right.
Like you didn't make me feel like shit for complaining about stuff with Thomas. You just let it be.
Yeah.
Because like he's hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's really hard. And I think because you did that, I didn't sit in a space where I was just like, oh, my birthday sucks. I was like, okay, we move on. Now I can just go, my birthday was good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I walked away with.
Yeah.
Instead of, I don't know. Because a lot of times being validated is great. I don't want to have to search for validation.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes just getting to be your authentic self with the right person and them letting you be that just negates all the crap. Like I'm just like, okay, I was like, we didn't have to talk about it anymore. We just moved
That's
forward.
incredibly powerful. I think that's where a lot of that like toxic positivity can come in.
Uh-huh.
Of like, you had a great birthday. You had all these people love on you. You had all these amazing gifts. Like, why would you not be grateful? And what, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, all of that can be true. And you can still have really hard parts of your day, right? You
They
can
don't
still
take or give
have,
to each
like,
other.
you had to leave because Thomas was being really freaking difficult, and that is valid,
Yeah.
right? It can all exist at the same time, and there's no judgment, and we don't need this toxic positivity. I think we both do a good job of holding space for each other
Yeah.
and for other people, other friends, or other people in our community, where they can have both.
Yeah. It's one of those things with growing and healing where I want to break,
Yeah.
but what is the break going to give me? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's times where I've maybe felt like it's a break and I felt idle.
Mm.
I also just
I
want
feel
to
like I
nap.
needed, yeah, I want a nap, but it needs to be like a 3 day. Like, just give me some like IV nutrition and fluids so I
There you
don't
go.
have to wake up at all
But I
for
need
3 days.
the kids in the house and all the responsibilities to continue to get done while I'm
Yes.
napping. So that when I wake up it's not catch up. Because I think that's the hardest part is you and I were just talking about on the way up here. Just we have people in our lives like, how can I help give you a break? And it's like the breaks that I need, nobody can really give.
Yeah.
And so if God's not giving it to us, there's a reason.
Right.
But like a night away, yes, is going to be like I don't want to diminish how amazing a night away would be
I
for
don't even know
either
what
of
that's
us.
like.
Right? Like I don't that would be yeah, the only time I'm away that my kids are I don't have them for the night is when they're with their dad.
Mm-hmm.
There's not sleeping happening
Right.
or you're working.
Yeah.
So like yeah, anyway. Um but yeah, people are like my mom. She's like, "What else can we do?" And I'm just like, all the things that I need are things God needs to provide.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I say that I'm tired or I'm like, "Oh, this is too hard," or I hate it here, none of it is like in that moment that somebody
Right.
can come and take care of.
Right.
It's a general like
Mm-hmm.
being a single parent. And that's again where the two positive and the negatives get to live together because we both have provided really amazing lives for our children.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pick this over my married life any day of the week.
For sure.
I always tell people my hardest day as a single mom trumps my best day married by a
Easily.
long shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said that from the beginning, and it's still true.
Yep.
But doesn't mean that the hard days are really hard
Mm-hmm.
and lonely and tiring. And there's just things. So with Thomas right now, the stuff we're dealing with, I get pissed that I have to do it by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody can carry that. Nobody else can carry that. I get lots of support, which I think makes it possible.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to get a diagnosis of his behavioral issues, the fact that he's running away from school, the fact that, like, you picked him up the other day, which was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so grateful that you did that. But, like, at the end of the night, how I handle him, what we need to go do about it, that's on me.
Yeah.
And that's dark. And I'm pissed that he doesn't have a father
Yeah.
to help make those decisions
Mm-hmm.
or to care or to financially provide for all the therapy he's going to need.
Right.
Any of those things would be great. But it's like for me, I'm going, it's not fair to him that he has to have this worn out, exhausted, overworked, underpaid
Right.
mom be the one that's supposed to help him through. Like we're not setting him up for success with that.
Yeah.
That was a negative comment,
That's
but
heavy.
so it feels
But it's
like.
valid. And those feelings are very valid.
Yeah. So it's not even just like I have to go through this hard stuff by myself. I'm going, he doesn't get the best version of me
Right.
because I don't have a partner. And he doesn't get to have another parent that can say, hey, you're tapped out, let me jump in. Or here's another perspective we could talk about because I live in the same house and this is my kid and I have it just sucks. Like, okay, God, like why?
Right.
Why? But again, I give myself space to feel that, but then I also give myself space to be like, he trusted that this is a journey both Thomas and I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to benefit us because there's no, like, why would he put us through something that doesn't have an opportunity for us to grow or heal?
Right.
I don't know. What are you dealing with?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so many different things. I'm exhausted from in every possible way, physically, emotionally, mentally, probably spiritually too. I'm just exhausted in every way. I feel weary.
Mm,
Like down in my soul, in my bones, I'm weary and I'm tired.
that's a hard one.
Yeah. And that's hard because I wake up and I start the day and my capacity is already at 0.
I saw a meme the other day, and I want to say I sent it to you, but it's like, I'm already tired next week.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
That's how it feels
October's
right now.
looking really tired right now. I wonder if I'm going to make it to Christmas.
Right.
I'm so tired.
Yeah. I'm just tired and my capacity is at 0 all the time. And that is not
Is it, but
conducive to
it's,
having 6 children.
right. But I'm guessing, well, not just 6 children, but then you've got your students.
Mm-hmm.
And,
There's so many people I pour into on a daily basis.
yeah.
And that's hard. And so I had a really hard, I've been having a hard week. And there was a day this week that I texted my boyfriend and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get up. I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to homeschool. I don't want to teach piano. I don't want to pay the bills. I don't want to. I can't. I'm too tired.
Yeah.
And we communicated in the best way that we could handle that day because we both had work and none of those are options. I don't get to actually opt out of any of that ever. And so the best way for us to handle that day was for us to move about our day, but I had the space to text him whatever was going on in my head, which in some way helped me feel like we were working through it together. And so throughout the day, I would just text any kind of thoughts that I had. And that is such a safe place for me where I can say anything at all.
Yeah.
And he holds that space. And so just some things that I think that I need in my life is I need to recognize and hold on to the glimmers. We talked a little bit about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast though. But glimmers are the opposite of triggers.
Yeah.
And so glimmers are just these moments of just peace and joy, and life is so good, right? And
Yeah.
I need to hold on to those more and
Yeah.
recognize those more, maybe say it out loud or write it down in a journal. And then I have got to do more things that light my soul on fire.
Yeah.
And there are some that are really simple, like dancing. I white girl dance it up. Okay. I am not good at dancing.
White girl.
I thought I was good at dancing until I looked back and realized it was every time that I was out at a club and had drinks. I'm not good at dancing.
I thought you did great at Grandpa's wedding.
And that brought me so much joy.
Yeah.
And so even just, a dance party, like that brings me so much joy. I need to do more of that. My days are so packed that I'm moving from 1 minute to the next minute, being productive almost every minute of every day.
Yeah.
And it is sucking me dry.
Well, were you like that when you were married? Like, do you feel like if you weren't being productive, you were being lazy?
I feel like I was in a fog the whole time that I was married.
Because I was very much so, and I think this was part of the mental abuse from my ex, was if I sat down and rested and I wasn't productive the whole time, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Which is really interesting coming from a video game addict.
Mm-hmm.
But I struggle with that now. Letting myself take a rest, like giving myself, you can go sit down for 5 minutes, even though your list is packed.
Right.
You get to rest.
Yeah, rest doesn't have to be earned. That's hard.
That is a really hard one. You get to rest.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably why you don't feed yourself very much. You don't have to earn food either, by the way.
Yeah. It's just a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Hence the shakes that you're drinking.
Yeah.
So is that something you've already, like, is this like something you've implemented, or is this what you're like,
No,
okay, I've
this
got
is
to
all
start?
very, very recent.
Yeah, you've got to start.
No, I've got
to be
to
honest,
start.
how many times do we come to these places though, where we're like, I'm so bogged down.
Yeah.
And like, I've got to revamp. We've got to find.
Right. And so and none of it is, big things or expensive things. It's dancing.
Right. No.
It's, going for a walk in the rain or dancing in the rain. It's going up the canyon. But I also have to be intentional about those things. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just moving throughout my day, going off my checklist, which is never ending.
So do you remember, I was doing I was kind of in this deep, like, learning to love myself. And so I was doing like 5 things to celebrate myself every
Yeah.
day.
Right.
And it got to the point where I would just find stuff that I was already doing and count it.
Right.
And it didn't hold that same power.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing, and I haven't done it in a long time, is I just pick one thing. I'm going to go do this today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stop my day to intentionally make this event be just for me, right? And like make it almost like a ceremony.
Right.
So I wonder if that's kind of what needs to happen with like these
Yeah.
created glimmer moments.
I feel like that definitely needs to happen because at this point, I go to take a shower, which by the way is a one song shower.
Yeah, no.
That's
It's
all
rinse
of my
off, get off.
showers are one song showers,
Yep.
except once a week. I have a long shower where I shave and exfoliate, and that's my once a week.
That's a 2-song shower.
3, okay?
Oh my gosh.
3.
Look at you. So
But when I have my one
luxurious.
song shower, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. That's when I know like my self-care and my like doing things that bring me joy are not happening.
Oh yeah,
My 60-second shower.
when I would go through and go back and reread some of the things I did to celebrate myself, they were literally basic human needs.
Right.
It was, I showered today. I ate food today. I'm not even kidding. It was like ridiculous, the things that I was writing down. I was like, this is a basic human need. And
Yeah.
I'm going, I did it. I did it.
Right.
So we should probably work on that.
We definitely should.
I love the intentional glimmers though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to text you and be like, what was your intentional glimmer of the day?
Right. You can create those. You don't have to sit around and wait for them to happen.
I definitely get those with music in general.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I've got like this weird cluster of songs. I say cluster because on my likes, it's not a playlist. It's anytime I'm on Amazon, if I hit like, it just automatically gets added to this playlist.
Okay.
And so it's like these 15 songs in this cluster spot on there. And I'm like, this is what I want to listen to.
That explains a whole lot when mine goes from Eminem to
Yeah.
hot dog, hot diggity dog. I'm like, oh. So that's where it comes from.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But there's these songs, I don't know, they're feeding my soul right now. And it's just on repeat. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I don't even care. It's so good. But I need to, I don't know, it was weird. So like, even though I'm tired and exhausted, I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, I kind of don't want to do pancakes. But then the thought of not having everybody over and the thought of not just getting to be in that space made me so sad.
Aww. Yeah.
And not like I would miss everybody because I literally see you guys every day.
Yeah.
But it was just like this tradition we created, and I was just not, and I wasn't worried about what people were thinking because I know
Right.
that I was telling you guys, I was like, I was so tired this morning. You're like, you don't have to do this. And I'm
Never.
like,
Yeah.
I know that if I said no, everybody would be totally fine with it. But we had a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last Saturday?
Yes.
It feels like a month ago. That
I-
feels a month ago.
I think it's because we don't sleep. So
Is
it
that what it
just,
is?
days feel way longer than one day.
Yeah. So we were at the funeral on Saturday, and the funeral was early enough that we couldn't do pancakes.
Yeah.
And I just texted all the people. I was like, this feels weird to not have us all be in this space. Are y'all up for pancakes for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I don't want to. So it's stuff like that where it's like, what's something I've got to figure out, because a lot of the things that do bring me joy take still from my tank.
Right.
I got to find things that fill it and don't take it. And I mean, it fills it, just pulls from my
That's what she
energy
said.
tank. Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Keep going.
We need to be.
That's also what she said.
She's having a good time. So last night we had BLT night with neighbors.
Yes.
We need to go to.
You should be so proud of me that I showed up because yesterday I went to lunch in
Yeah, you
public
did.
with people.
Well, you attended lunch. You didn't eat
I did.
anything, but
That's
you
fine.
sat and chatted with us while we
Do you want
ate.
to attack me right now?
I'm not. I'm just making it very clear what we're celebrating, because it
I was
wasn't.
in public with people.
Yes, done.
And then I had to take the boys to jiu-jitsu, and then I had to take the girls to tumbling, and then I had to go back to jiu-jitsu to get the boys, and then back to tumbling to get the girls, and then I went to BLT night. So much socializing, so many people. I should get a freaking award.
How many people are you talking to at tumbling and jujitsu? Or is it
None,
just
but
being
they're all around me.
They're here.
They're
This is
existing.
that's socializing.
We're all sitting in the same room, breathing the same air.
socializing.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I told you I'd come get you for BLT night. And you're like, yeah, then I'll actually go. And I was like, we're in that mood today. Absolutely. But I was thinking, I was like, we need to go be in public together more because I don't think I've laughed. I literally almost peed my pants. I don't even remember what you said. And it wasn't like, okay.
I
When
had seen, we're sitting one of the funny times last night. Many funny times. One of the funny times. The kids will often play this game of if the guy you're dating texts you within a certain amount of time, you have to invite him to this or that, right?
No, because the guy I'm dating, nobody has met yet.
Right.
And so the kids want to meet him.
Yeah.
And they're like, invite him to pancakes. And I was like, if he texts me within the next 10 minutes, I'll invite him to pancakes.
So this is a game that we play. So last night we're sitting there and we had our phones in between us and he texted you, but you didn't see it. And I did. Right. And so I waited till it went away and I was like, if he texts you in the next 10 minutes, you have to invite him to pancakes. And then clicked on your phone and went, oh my gosh, he texts you.
I seriously, I haven't been that close to peeing my pants in years. I was laughing so hard. And so this morning when Charlie came up and he texted me this morning, she goes, it's been 10 minutes. And I just laughed all over again. She had no idea why, but I was laughing so hard. But yeah, it's stuff like that. But what's funny is that the group of people know us well enough that they're like, what? We didn't say anything dirty. And you and I were like, we're so tired. Anything's funny right now.
Yeah.
We were both a little delirious. We kind of wanted to podcast.
I snorted so loud in front of everybody heard it.
Somebody on the way, they're like, I heard that. I didn't even think it was that loud. You snorted louder in the car on the way here.
Probably.
But anyway, I don't like
Just
it when there's big.
Snorted, not drugs snorted. I don't do drugs.
Very clear. When there's a big group and there's like two people laughing and they've got all these inside jokes, I don't like that. And last night wasn't that. We were both on the same delirious wavelength.
Right.
So people would say stuff and we were both just like, look at each other like, did they just say that? Because we would hear something totally different or we would take things to a dirty place because that's what we do. That particular time we did not. It was just the cell phone thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to formally apologize to everybody. I was like, we weren't having our own little corner. We're just tired. We don't sleep.
We're so tired.
So you could have just been like, my sandwich. And we're like, sandwich.
Right.
It's a sand and a witch.
Right.
And we just delirious.
That's where we're at.
That's where we were at last night. I was like, we should do that more because it was fun to laugh that hard.
It was so fun.
But it was good. But those BLTs, that bacon.
The one in the middle was my favorite.
I didn't try all of them. I don't know why.
What?
I thought they were all the same. He said they were just different cuts. And the ones I had were like more round and I was like, perfect for my sandwich.
That was not my favorite.
Oh,
should have tried the one in the
damn
middle.
it.
I mean, it was good.
The jalapeno poppers were decent.
Ooh.
Like it was spicy, but it went away.
They were so good. I love
Oh my
spicy.
gosh, we have leftover Indian food.
Yes.
It's going to be a good day.
If anybody touched it,
Oh, I'm going to be pissed.
they're moving out.
All of them. I have
Immediately.
enough cake that they will easily bypass the Indian food.
I don't have any cake.
Well, it wasn't your birthday.
Or dark chocolate peanut butter cups.
I feel like if we drove fast enough that way, if we launched ourselves, we might make it to Trader Joe's. We both confirmed with the neighbor on the same day that road doesn't go through.
Did we?
He was like, somebody asked me about that. I was like, was it Julia? He goes, yeah. I was like, yeah, we've been wondering. Oh my goodness. Well, this was a good episode.
I know, that we didn't even plan. I love it.
But this is what I feel like was like how we wanted to do.
Right, yes. Being authentically ourselves, so.
We're just, and it also showcases, like we just talked about a lot of joyful things and a lot of hard things, and that's what our lives are.
Yes.
And it's when we share hard things on here, I never want people to think that we're in this victim space of like, oh, our life is so hard. Everybody's life is hard.
Yes. Everybody's got different shit.
Yeah. And we share ours because I think a lot of times having other people hear, and they're like, oh, I resonate with that. But then also I do like that we always bring it back to gratitude. We always bring it back to like, no, we love our lives.
Yeah.
Like after that email, I would pick this life so easily.
Absolutely.
Over the other options.
Yep.
Because I like who I am. But the only reason I like who I am is because I went through those hard things and I chose to heal, like what the book said.
Mm-hmm.
I chose, and I choose to be grateful for those. So I'm grateful for the trials. I am grateful for the hard shit that God puts me through because he has faith that I can get through it, and that he is like, your potential is so grand. I'm going to put some heavy shit in front of you because we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. And that, like, I'm a favorite. I'm kind of one of God's favorites.
Absolutely.
So I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful for the woman that I am today. And I think that both of us can have a hard time bragging on ourselves, but I'm going to freaking do it because I am damn proud.
Sometimes I'm like, we need to back it up a little bit.
I am damn proud of the woman that I am today.
You should be.
Of my tenacity, of my grit, of my never giving up, of pushing through whatever it is that comes my way, of figuring it out, figuring shit out. And I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the woman that I am today without the different things that I've gone through and that I've walked through.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for. I am grateful for my story, even though there's parts of it I don't love, parts of it that I wish weren't there. They made me who I am today.
And I think that perspective is incredibly mature and beautiful, and what a gift.
Yeah.
Because I think that your life is set up where you could easily be like, God doesn't love me.
Right.
He
But
gave
it
me a lot
also,
of shit.
also recognizing it took me a long time to get here. We're talking years to be able to get to this point, because I remember sitting in front of my coach, who was my coach, sister, mentor, friend, everything, and going, I don't want this to be my story. I don't want this to be part of my story.
Yeah. And you didn't let it.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't let it stop you. That came out wrong. Your story didn't end there.
Right.
You said, this isn't my only story. This is a part of my journey.
Right.
And we're moving forward.
These are things that I've been through, that I've walked through. These are hard things. These are dark things. And look how I rose. Every single time.
Yeah. And how great for your kids to have that example. And now they're their babies and their babies and their babies. Just don't read my journals. Like our posterity cannot read our journals.
You and my boyfriend have both been told, when I die, burn them immediately.
Yeah, same.
Go into my house and burn my journals.
I
will start a new one.
Yeah.
That will be like, oh, Mom kept this beautiful journal, and this will be
of
the
all
one.
Of my healing and growing.
Right. And we'll keep the pretty, beautiful one.
Yeah.
But the one that I currently have, because I like to finish a journal, I got to finish the whole book before I start a new one.
Yep.
This has too many different seasons in it.
You know what we should do, though? We should go through and just like highlight either the good or the bad, and then we'll just like redact those, because for me, there's a lot of good things in my journals, but there's a lot of things I'm like, no one needs to know about it. Any of these thoughts.
You're going to need scissors and a paper shredder.
Yeah, absolutely. And then burn it.
Yeah.
And then probably...
with me, because I'm being cremated.
Well, what sucks is I'm older than both you and your boyfriend, which means I need to go find somebody who's willing to do all of this for me. Crap.
But I'm going first, so.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I've got no one to take care of my journals. My kids are going to read these journals and be like, what the hell is wrong with our mother?
Yeah.
With that, we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unfiltered Summit Sisters.
Come join us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to get a sneak peek into our lives.
It's beautiful, chaotic, crazy, and fun.
What else would you expect raising 10 kids?
All the links you need are in the show notes.
See you next week.